So it's so nice to be with you all today. It's great to hear your
Oh,
stories.
that's one of the first. Yeah. When we were so small, we could put every university's logo on the certificate. Now it's like 200, so it wouldn't be possible in a given semester.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, so I was doing the New Year, cleaning the other day and went through my files. And this is definitely a keeper. It's a blast from the past for me. It's my first certificate for going through X Culture as a faculty member. At that time, I was at a community college in North Carolina, like Christopher, but a different one. And I said yes to the X Culture adventure with 6 students. I let them have the opportunity to choose this project opposed to something else that I had prepared for the rest of the class. So the students signed my certificate, I signed theirs, and many of them are still in touch with me today. So it's been really exciting, and it has been double digits now. It's been 11 years. So started with 6 students. I've used X Culture in my courses through 3 different universities or schools. And so now it's, yeah, 11 years. I know that it's been over 1,000 reports. I've kind of lost track over time. And then, of course, getting involved with the coaching program in 2019 gave me a really interesting opportunity to see coaching cases, but also these reports from all around the world, because within that coaching program at X Culture, there's a subset of people that assist the clients and professors with evaluating best reports. So I've kind of gotten a really nice look like under the lid, right, of all these reports over time. So I am coming right now from UNC Wilmington in North Carolina. And then I just mentioned here too, our coaching, a bit involved there. And then over the years, we've also done some different training programs online, and sometimes we get the great opportunity face to face to talk with faculty. We've done some collaboration sessions. So we've sat down, reviewed reports or sections of reports together and said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 7, would you give that a 7? Would you give that a 5? Why would you? In the hopes of us, right, looking at these components in the same way. So I thought to share these kinds of perspectives with you as I go forward. So to keep me on track, I thought if we could now think like a reviewer, because you've all thought of yourselves as creators, you've thought of yourself in the client role, you've thought of yourself maybe as a cookie. All right, so you've thought of yourself in some different ways and try to picture what market you're going to enter. But let's think like a reviewer for the next few minutes. I wanted to hit the highlights of the 3 big blocks of the report, and then the most important section, and then just like a little bit of a wrap up. It's highly visual, and I gave you some this is not really for you to read the detail. It's a snapshot of my last fall. So sitting down in December, after all of the students, after all of you are done with your reports, you've worked on them for 8 weeks, you've been collaborating with people all over the world. Now, professors receive a Dropbox link, and we have our big spreadsheet that we fill in. And so for me, I get this blank spreadsheet, and then over, a week, 2 weeks, we grade all of the reports, and you can see the page numbers, but then every little section receives a grade or a score of 1 through 7, executive summary, and then block 1, block 2, the marketing and those components. And then of course, 3 is a little bit of, it's different depending on your client. And then we also provide feedback. So here's the message that I sent out to my students in December. I graded 48 reports. It was over 1,000 pages. My prescription gets a little bit stronger every maybe 5 years of reading the reports. Um, Average report, 25 pages. And so I just kind of want to give everyone this overview of what your reviewer is looking at. And then for me, when I look at those fall reports, I reviewed 13 My Better Batch reports, right? So think about being in the space of reading report number 6, a 20-page report, and then your 7th one. How is this one going to catch attention? What makes this rise above the others? So I wanted to go through some visuals and a little bit of detail with all of you. So here's block 1, your foundation. And as your presenters have talked to you about, it really is like, if we get this right, the rest of it really rolls, and it can be a lot of fun. So what are the things that you want to accomplish in that first entry mode area? It's, do you understand the client? You're talking to the client, letting them know, we get you, we know what you do, we know your products and services, we know the industry that you operate within, we see the competition that you have right now. and what the possibilities could be. And based on all of those possibilities, we've evaluated several viable expansion ideas, and therefore, and then you hit it with your big idea. So once you and your team really get settled here, then you can get into all these great things that we've seen in the reports, right? Frameworks to compress. And I know that all of you have read so many things. You've got folders and folders within Google Drive or Dropbox, whatever, you're using in the cloud, and you take all of this and compress it. And it almost feels like, oh, I wish we could use all of this for the report, but you've got to hone it down to the best of the best. And so these are just some of the things that, you might use to let you tell that story. And we saw some great visuals in the examples before. Here are just a few from reports that stuck out to me over time that I've captured a screenshot so I can share this with others. Um, this is one client. We can see we've got all of the direct competition. This one is a lot to look at right now, but it was such a helpful one pager for a different company. And this team weighted these different components of entering the market and making the case for why this is the best way to go. And so you can do this in 5 pages of paragraph form, but remember, I'm reading 1,000 pages. So we know that all of our reports that we create, they can be really, really good, but maybe not every section is excellent, but there are some real gems in there. So if you have something that you really think you want to get people's attention, create a visual, get them to focus in again and hone in on it, and then explain it a little bit more. Some other things I wanted to show. Marketing. Sometimes we get this as kind of generic, and that's okay, right? It's an activity, but if you could dig in a little bit deeper, some of the things that have got the attention for reviewers for best reports or for other accolades is, did you create a little commercial or personas? That's really interesting if you can get into that perspective. Social media. Sure, we can definitely go into many different modes of new and traditional media, but there's a difference between saying you should get on Instagram and then actually explaining the influencers. Who specifically are they? Have you found human beings in the world that like are a great match, that are the right price? How much would it cost for that influencer? Is that so those are the kinds of things when you really get into the detail. I don't do a lot of don'ts in my slides, but this is one, this is like the proofreading symbol for strike it, or maybe not necessary. And I know that there are sections within the client directions that say, give steps for social media or for, advertising online. But really what the client is not looking for are the actual step-by-step directions on how to do this, but specifically for them, what does maybe that strategy look like? So it's fine if you include it in the report, but for me, I look at it and glance and I keep going. It's really not like a value add. It's fine if you do it, but it doesn't really like push you over the edge for a best report. Here are some examples for marketing that I just wanted to go into with you. This is a working website for one of the past clients. And when you go to each of the links, it has a little bit of information in there, and they talk about improving that particular website, making it more specific. My Better Batch. This is a really nice commercial, and the students used AI to generate it. I won't go into all of these examples because I don't want to take too much time, but they're really quite clever. And so, sure, you could use these tools. The main thing is to explain them and to give a little bit of a story to say, here's why we created it. Here are the reasons why we did what we did. And then that brings all the logic to it. This is a different client. And so this was a webinar series concept that the team put together, and they had maybe 5 or 7 examples of how they would roll this out. So that was such a really unique attention getter. Wheel Stare was a prior client, and they provided a video, and it was a suggestion that maybe you would do a voiceover. Some of these were really super clever, and again, it just got the attention. Skillify, this was another commercial that was created, and then one group used AI and talked a little bit about, they storyboarded a bit about just like what Christopher was talking about, an experience in the home, creating things together. Can you tell what country they were targeting? Right. So it's really interesting in these details that were put together. So it's this thoughtfulness there. Could you go phony wine? we're going into Seoul, South Korea, and you can tell right by just even these little details of including language here. Now we get into block three, and this is where some will run out of time or maybe a little bit of steam. So this is really this, okay, can you get detailed? Can you get all those little details, right? We're like combing for the gold out there. So do you have specific recommendations? Do you have links for those kinds of recommendations? This one was for X Culture Academy. Yes, we want to go to this particular country, and here are here are schools that are a perfect fit, and here's the people to contact, and here's why you would do that. Instead of just saying you should go to Norway. Okay, you should go to high schools in Norway. Yes, but now we've got really specific leads. Same with this one. Although there were more, I just gave you this one screenshot. It flowed into another page, but this was for distributors for Coach Grafani. This one is for human resources and trying to think through if you're going to expand into an area. Here are some agencies that you might want to go with. You might find marketing agencies. And then this one, I just say, call attention to your key contributions, right? The things that you found that you said, this is a really good aha that the client should pay attention to. Here is a retailer, so putting this particular product into space. And then I highlighted the call attention because it makes me think of a couple of slides ago. I feel a little bad, honestly, because last semester, that Skillify ad, I didn't see it when I graded the report. I only saw it after I went through and was looking for components of reports to share because it was just a link. It was a link in paragraphs of information. And I really didn't know that if I click, I just, again, sorry, I was fatigued as a reviewer. And if there was just a visual there, if they just gave that screenshot that you saw on that screen of the little play button, I would have clicked it and said, wow, this is such an amazing. And I know people spent time on that. And so I apologize to those students. I just didn't see it in the report. So please don't let things like that get away from you. Oh, I said primary data. Some of you will collect survey data, report it, throw it in the appendix. This is a lot of work. This shows like a unique contribution. And we know that your samples are really small. That's okay. You can say, this might not represent the, population. However, this is an attempt at bringing you authentic primary data. It really goes a long way and is quite impressive. Working QR codes, these are just signals to show your professionalism. So the power of details is really where I was getting at with that. Some of the most beautiful pages in the eyes of your reviewer, drum roll. It looks boring maybe right here, but they're beautiful. These references that are alphabetized in APA format, I see Foss smiling. You know it's true. I can see world trade data was used. I see relevant current databases that were used, popular sources as well. This was really well researched. This shows me that people really went to task on this, and I should treat this as a professional contribution. The most important part of the report, right? This is really what's important. The executive summary. Where are we going? Tell me what we're doing. This is the first content that we really see. We might see some beautiful cover sheets, right? But then we're going to look at this executive summary, especially your clients, and they're going to say, is this report one that I should pour myself another cup of coffee and really dig into? Or am I just going to keep scanning through pages and pages of information? So this should tell every single secret of your report. If you found an influencer and that person's name is Tim Muth, and the reason why you're using him is because he costs this much, put it on that page. Give even, if you've got a great visual, put that on that page too. Assume that people are not even going to read with care all the other pages. It's a terrible thing to say, but you will catch people's attention and you will make sure that they really don't miss the good stuff. So it's got to have all the secrets on that 1 or 2 pages. And then the most important thing of all is that, yeah, it's about the report, but it's really not about the report. It's about the experience of it. It's about everything that people have been talking about for the last hour plus. And so I just gave a couple of slides here of reflections from my students about a month ago. Who are the people that you're meeting? These are their slides. So I just kind of grabbed some things. What did you get out of it? how are you going to take this forward, right? Working on an international project, thinking about how you are leveling up in some different ways. So, in my final slide here, I would recommend people should look at best reports. They're great to get a good begin with the end in mind idea. And they're best reports, but they're not perfect reports. They can be intimidating though when you first start looking at the project, right? They're really fantastic, but you can get a glimpse of what the full picture will look like. But also don't let it constrain you into saying this is what it must be, because you have to create your own vision of this. Substance first, then style. Don't get lost in it. Then you get to the pretty stuff after you've got all of that great data, after you pulled all of your good details. And then the client challenge directions, use it like a checklist, because it really does in every component, all those blocks give you on a scale of 1 through 7, this is how this part would be rated. And you can say, ooh, you know what? In marketing, we did some really fancy stuff, but we didn't talk about messaging. What does that mean again? Okay, let's go back and make sure that we really develop that part. um, Pre-sections above all of those blocks. If you can give a couple of bullet points of what are the big takeaways, it will help me hone in on the details. It will help your clients find all that good stuff and the big ideas. And then lastly, just using it as that opportunity to learn something new, to level up your skills. So maybe you are an accountant and you really don't do a lot of design. Now's your opportunity to do that. You are a marketing person, but you really don't think about finance. Now you get to grow in that direction too. So kind of treat it like this game of, I know that I can grow a little bit more in this direction. So those are my thoughts, and I hope that that was helpful.